Hello everybody, this is Kathy. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today we're going to go through a tutorial on how to make this lapbook. It's a smaller size. It's about, I want to say 5 3/4 by about, I want to say 7. I learned how to do parts of this by watching Carol Tinson's channel on YouTube, Crafty Emporium Designs. And although I adapted her tutorial because she has different things inside than what I have inside, please check out her channel. She's amazing. I've learned so much from her. But let me show you what we're going to make. I have this closed with a large paper clip, and on the back I have a pocket that opens up like this. And I put a little bead at the bottom of the string, or this, in this case, this is elastic. Okay, let's open it up. It opens like this. I'm going to start and try to keep most of it in the frame, or enough of it. This is the front inside cover. And I made little mini pockets that hold things to journal on. And then I'm going to open the right side. And in the back right side cover, there's a little corner tuck spot, and there's a pocket, a floating pocket that comes out. For right now, I'm going to concentrate on this side. Okay, so on the front, there's a pocket and a little mini envelope with a card. You open that up, and you find a full-page pocket, and there's some cards in there. And then next to that full-page pocket, there's a journal. The journal is replaceable. It's held in place with rivets and elastic, so it's removable. And then if I turn this over on this side, there's a belly band and a bookmark. That flips over, so you can see the pretty bird. That flips over, and on this side, there's a side vertical pocket with a little accordion journaling spot. And in the center, this is a little jar with a little card. I made this into a pocket. In the center here, this opens up with a flap to reveal a full pocket. You can flip open that pocket, and inside there's a little pad. And then on this side, there's a full page pocket with a tag in it. When we open that up, that reveals 2 pockets that load from the side. Then next to that, there's a full journal again that is also held in place the same way as the first one, with grommets and elastic. Then on this side, there's a little flip out thingamabobber, and here you have a flap with tickets. You have a card tucked under a, I guess that's a little pocket, and that's it. This closes up, and then this closes up. This closes like this. This closes like this. Whoop. Then this closes. This closes. This and this. And we're going to keep it all closed with the clip. Okay, what we're going to start with, I'm going to take this off again. We're going to start with making this base. So this and the pocket. Okay, that's what we're going to do in this video. Okay, so the first thing you do is get your cutter out. Actually, before we do that, let me go over the materials in general that you will need. You'll need 3 regular size file folders. Mine happen to be center tabbed, but it doesn't matter which ones you use. You need glue, a 1-inch circle punch, the paper trimmer, scissors. You need some brads that are going to hold those little closey things in place. You need string or ribbon. You need a pokey tool or an awl. You're going to need later on thread for binding, a hole punch, grommets or eyelets. I guess they're called grommets. Elastic or string, scrapbook paper, journaling paper, and whatever ephemera that you'd like to use. Today, and a bone folder. Today, all you're going to need is your bone folder, your file folders, glue, a circle punch, paper trimmer, scissors, and 2 brads. And you could use some string and a pokey tool. Okay, so let's get started. First, take out your paper trimmer next. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to trim off the tab from our folders. And what you want to do, your folders have these little nibs on the side. There's one nib on one of the sides that's going to be lower, closer to the fold than the other one. That's where you're going to be cutting from. So on this particular folder, this nib is lower to the fold, closer to the fold than this one. So we're going to be cutting from that one. And you can save these to make tabs. I'm not going to do that. So on the 3 folders, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut these folders in half. And half is the little line past 5 3/4. So it's one line past 5 3/4. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be at 5/8. So 5 5/8. And the way I do it is it's the little line after 5 3/4 on my cutter, but it's 5 5/8. And that should get you an even cut right in half at 5 5/8. Okie doke. So we have our 6 pieces now. It's 3 file folders cut in half. We're only going to be working with 2 of them right now, so set the other 2 aside. And the next thing you want to do is label your file folders. You're going to label 1A and 1B. This is where Carol Tinson's video was so good. She was so organized. Although my layout is different, This is directly stolen from or borrowed from what she did. So the next thing we do is, you see our folders have a natural score line. So you're going to take your bone folder and you're going to varnish that outer line so that you can create a spine. And when you create your spine, you're going to have a longer edge and a shorter edge. So we've done A, and now we're going to do the same thing to B. The next thing you want to do is, you have a, as I said, a shorter line and a longer line. Whoops, let me get that right. Shorter flap and a longer flap. You're going to take B and you're going to turn it 180 degrees, just like this, so that your longer flap of B is on the bottom. You're going to take B and put it right inside A, just like that. Okay, let's do that again. It was like this. You're going to turn it all the way around so your B is upside down. Your longer flap is at the bottom. You're going to place B inside A. And here's what it looks like. You have A holding B. Okay? Next thing you're going to do is, you're going to take B away, and you're going to take A, and you're going to take the long side of A and trim off 4 inches. Longer side of A and trim off 4 inches. Just like that. Then you're going to take that 4-inch piece and you're going to trim it in half. So you're making 2 2-inch pieces, just like that. Okay? And we're going to set A aside, and we're going to work with our 2 2-inch pieces. And oh, you need your cutter back again, I'm sorry. And your 2 2-inch pieces, you're going to make them cut down to 4.5 inches each. Four and a half. And 4.5. I'll write it right on here. So this is 4.5 by 2. This is 4.5 by 2. Okay? Next thing you're going to do is take your scoreboard. I didn't tell you that you needed that today, but you do. And you're going to take these 2 strips and you're going to score them at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inch. So 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inch. Scoring them at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inch. So it's score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch vertically. Okay? Next thing you're going to do, we're going to fold these accordion style. So we're going to fold in, fold back, and fold back, so that you have something that looks like an M or a W. Just like this. And we're going to make it a W so that we have our flaps, not our folds, up on top. We only have a middle fold facing up. We're going to do the same thing to this one. In, out, and in. And you want to burnish that really well. Okay. Before we do anything else with it, you're going to need your scissors and have it facing up like a W so that your single flaps are on either side. You're going to trim off from the point in the corner just a little bit. Just like this. You're going to flip it over and do the same thing, making sure your single flaps are on either side with your folded part in the middle, so that it looks like this now. We're going to do the same thing on the other one, starting from the very corner, going up, the very corner, and you're mitering the corner there. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your B folder. And on the back, you're going to glue these to the bottom so that, do you see how my corners are going in there? I want to make sure you can see it. I'm trying to get as close to the bottom edge as I can, but your diagonals should be going in. And I'm going to glue this bottom edge. And the thing that's out are my two folds are facing out. My single flap is facing in. So that it looks like this. My single flap is on top, but my two folds are facing out. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so you have something that looks like this now. I'm going to turn that over. And when I put it inside, when I take B, this time I'm putting it back in the same way. I'm putting the longer flap on the bottom. I'm tucking it inside of A. A is facing up. And then I'm going to turn the whole thing over. And when I turn it over, the flap that I cut should fit in there. You see mine are a little longer. I'm going to take this out for a minute just so I can snug it up in there. That's okay, because I can trim it. But before I put it together, I'm going to take it and put glue here and here and across the very bottom of B. So I'll take that out of your way so you can see it better. I'm going to put glue here, and glue across the very bottom. So let's do that. Same thing on this side. And across the very bottom. And try to get underneath in here. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this into A right next to that fold line, but not over it. So I still want my spine. Whoop. Let's try again. You have to be, this part is a little tricky because you want everything to match up. Okay, so I'm going to open it up this end and make sure it's matched up. Don't worry about these that are a little over. That's okay. What I want to do is, see how this is coming up in the corner? I need to glue it right there and keep my finger on it until it dries. And you see this didn't glue down, so I want to make sure that's glued down. But I want to make sure I glue down that corner. What I'm doing is putting glue into the bottom accordion piece so that the bottom of the accordion piece is glued together. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And now you have something that looks like this, nothing inside. But when you turn it over, you have a little pocket. Now, mine was a little long there, so I am going to go back in and I'm going to trim it. To worry about it too much because this is going to have a flap over it. My most important concern is making sure that everything is stuck together. Okay? Good. The next thing we're going to do is, remember that the third folder you cut. I want you to take a piece of that and you're going to cut a flap. And let's see how long we're going to make it. Let's make it 1 inch. Let's make it 1.5 inches long. And I'm going to do that on my trimmer. Hold that thought of how long we want to make it. Let me make sure. Let's make it 2 inches, just to be safe. Okay? That might even be too short. No, that's good. We're going to make it 2 inches. And what we're going to do first, I'm going to cut a diagonal here. And this is so it will fit into the accordion file. So when we flip it over, I want to make sure they're even, and they are. And what I'm going to do on these is I'm going to round the corner just so the flap looks like this. But before we do anything else, I'm going to fold over no more than a ½ inch. Let me make sure. Yeah, and I could actually use my scoreboard for that. It would be easier. And I'm going to score a ½ inch. I love this mini scoreboard. I got it at probably Tuesday mornings, but it really is a perfect size when you don't want to get out your big one. Okay, and I'm going to fold that, varnish it well, varnish it, I don't know what that word is, to look it up. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this flap down. And I'm going to place that glued part inside the folder. But I want to make sure it's behind the accordion pieces. And that'll be fine. So you have something that looks like this, and you'll notice on mine, it's a little off. I really cut the diagonals too much. So when you're doing it, just do a sliver. This will be fine because we're going to cover it with paper and you really won't be able to tell. But really, you should, I shouldn't have cut it that much. So let's see what we have. We have a back pocket. Let's start here on this side. And it opens. It opens. Now, the next piece, we're actually not going to put in the, I said that you needed your brads today. You really need to wait to do that when you have it all covered. We're simply making the base, okay? So the next thing that you want to do is from C, again, the piece that you cut a little bit, you want to make the spots for your, whoops, I should have put that on the inside, for your, what do you call it? For your, to hold your journals. Sorry, tongue-tied. And let me show you what we're making next. First, we're going to start with this piece. And this piece goes on over here. So we're going to put something in here, this base part right here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to varnish our spine in C, and we're going to put it in like this, because what this is going to make, this is going to, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yes. This is eventually going to fold over and be our little pocket flap, actually. So we can go ahead and fold that over, varnish it, and I folded over about 2.5 inches. Next thing we're going to do is glue the spine in place. And make sure you have that exactly on top of your other spine. I try to do that by opening them both up, and it helps sometimes to get them in the right spot. And it seems like one of my papers is a little larger than the other paper. Of course. But that's okay, because I can trim it. And I'm going to have to trim it. And luckily it's the piece C that I just put in. So I'm actually going to trim that with my scissors. Because you really want these to line up so that when the book is open, you don't have all these crazy bits and pieces. Make sure you're not cutting your other flap when you do it, like I almost did. Okay. So now they line up a little better. We have this and we have this. This doesn't go under here. We're going to take another piece and put it in here for the pocket. And let's do that now. Find my other C. Have it here somewhere. This was the other side. And again, I'm cutting 5 and a little schmitch over. Actually, I'm cutting it, 5 and a little schmitch. And let's see how deep I want it. I want it to be able to go under the fold. So, actually that's the perfect length. But what I want to do is figure out, we're going to fold a flap in here. So I want to make sure I'm going to be folding it in the right spot. So I'm folding it up just at 3/4 inches. So I'm going to score it at 3/4. And this will make sense when you see it in place. So what I'm doing is I'm folding it. I'm going to put glue here. And I'm putting it down in place. Don't put it on the score line, put it just over the natural score line of the bottom folder. So now what I have is I have the flap, and I'm going to round these corners of the flap. You don't have to. I just prefer it like that. And I love this tool. It's one of my favorite tools. So that this is going to go here, and we're going to have the circle with the brads in it. And then this is going to be whatever we want it to be. On mine, what I did was I made it into a double pocket after I put the paper on, and on the other side, but for all intents and purposes, I really left it as is until I put the paper on. Okay? So it's like this. Sorry, like this. And let me show you what we have so far. Okay? We have folder A on the top, and on the back we have a pocket that opens up accordion style. Eventually we'll have a circle with a brad and a circle with a brad with some string. We're going to turn it back over. We open up A. We still don't have anything over here. We open up B. When we open up B, we have nothing here and nothing here. Then we have a flap pocket that's going to have a circle with a brad and a circle with a brad. And then we have another flap. That's going to be the divider with the journal that we're going to put in here. Okay? That's all we're doing today. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you need me to review anything on the next video, let me know and I'll be happy to do that. Anyway, thanks for watching and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.